a record that will never be broken.
You can't trip on that.
They hit big shots with Luka. I think the Clippers have no idea.
Oh, look at that reaction. Look at that reaction. What do you say? What do you know? It's the full Monte Sports Show. It is Saturday, January 15th, 2022. I am your host, Monte Perez, a.k.a. The Sports Whisperer. I want to thank everyone for tuning in last week. We had 35 states watch around the country. That is the most people, most states we've actually reached to. Our goal is to do this 5 days a week, and we can only do this with your help. So if you like this show, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell a coworker, and of course, give us the thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to the Nuts and Bolts YouTube channel. It's free to subscribe. You don't have to pay. You just go to YouTube, you type in Nuts and Bolts Sports and hit the subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. We have really done a good job in increasing our numbers, both on here and on both on TikTok. Again, you could follow me on social media, on Twitter, MonteJP231, and on Twitter, on TikTok, Monte Perez 231. I think we're up to about 150,000 views with the hashtag the full Monte Sports Show. So thank all of you. Big cheers to all of you for tuning in, for telling people, for being so interactive in our chat room. Cheers to you. We have the best guests all across the country. It is Wild Card Weekend. We are fired up for Wild Card Weekend. Former NFL quarterback, host of Huddle Up with Gus Ferrotte's going to join us. And then we have our own version of the Three Wise Men. Yes, our own version of the Three Wise Men. Rico, Show Me the Money Graziano. Levi, the sports philosopher Chodorow, and George Lopez will be joining us. All of their teams are active in the playoffs. As you know, Rico loves the Steelers. George loves the Rams. George is actually going to the Ram game on Monday night. And, of course, Levi with the Bills. We are going to do 3 shows this weekend. We're doing today's show, and then we're doing the full Monte Sports Show halftime of the Dallas Cowboy San Francisco 49er game. Halftime, we're going to have Greg Rector on and Jeff Barnes at halftime. And then Monday night, we will be doing a halftime show with Brad Ward. A-Marie will not be able to join us. She's in Vegas. So halftime of the Rams-Arizona Cardinal game, we will be doing a show as well. So that is 3 shows coming at you this weekend. 3 shows coming at you this weekend. I actually did my first banner. This will be for the YouTube show Sunday. For the 49ers Cowboys game. I did this myself. As you know, I try to do everything during the show with the pictures, the sound, the videos, and I'm now trying to create the banners for the YouTube shows. So definitely excited for this weekend. If you love football, this is the weekend for you. Let's start with, like we always do, the good, the bad, and the funny. Listen, I know they lost last night to the Dallas Mavericks. But what can we say about the Memphis Grizzlies? Before last night, they won 10 in a row. This is a well-balanced team. They're young. They have a ton of scorers, and they have some veterans. Ja Morant is averaging 24 points, 6.7 assists, and 5 rebounds. My boy Dylan Brooks, out of the University of Oregon. This guy's a very good player. He's averaging 18 points a game. And Desmond Bane, you're like, who is Desmond Bane? Who is this guy? I don't know who he is. Out of TCU, is averaging 17 points per contest. Listen, I'm just going to come out and say it right now. This team could be a top 4 team in the NBA. And you would never think that, right? You would never think, oh my goodness, the Memphis Grizzlies are a legitimate team in the Western Conference. They are very good. They blew out the Golden State Warriors a few nights ago. It's not just the Titans in Memphis, right? It's not just the Titans in Tennessee. Yes, the Tennessee Titans have the number 1 seed, but this Memphis Grizzly team is playing very well. They are young. They have a good group of veterans. Watch this space with the Memphis Grizzlies. Watch this space. All right, so that's the good. Now let's get to the bad, and this is going to be very bad. The Atlanta Hawks have been terrible. They just traded Cam Reddish, former Duke Blue Devil, to the Knicks. The Portland Trailblazers are horrible, and I don't know what to make of the Lakers. I don't know what to make of the Lakers. People keep telling me that Russell Westbrook, oh, he's averaging a triple double. I posted a video, and people are posting videos all over social media of Russell Westbrook just horrible decisions. He's a point guard, but he has no idea how to play the position, right? He doesn't ever, ever, ever not over penetrate or over dribble. There are videos of Carmelo Anthony, Avery Bradley wide open, and Russell will over penetrate and get a shot blocked. He doesn't just look for himself to score as a first option. He looks at himself to score as a second or as a third option. And I don't get it. I don't get LeBron James, who we'll get to in a minute, who is a very intelligent basketball player. I don't understand who thought this was going to be a good fit. But again, it's not just the Lakers, right? The Celtics are terrible. The Atlanta Hawks. Now, good news for the Atlanta Hawks is they get Hunter back. He's their two guard, a very good two-way player. He can score, he can defend. They're going to start to get better with Hunter. They have had a lot of injuries. But what's happening with the Trailblazers? No one talks about them because they're in the Pacific Northwest. They're horrible. We thought Chauncey Billups was going to come in right away and change this culture around and get more consistent. They're horrible. The Nuggets have been struggling. That's why it's so impressive what the Grizzlies are doing, because they came out of nowhere. So I do believe the Hawks will make the playoffs. I do think the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. But these teams look like they're stuck in mud. You know, and the Hawks, there's no excuse for it because they're young. They're young. And for all you Trae Young haters who thought, oh, because of the new rule changes, this guy won't be able to do it. He's top 3 in scoring, in assists, in free throw shooting. Trae Young is in the hunt for an MVP, along with John Morant, by the way, along with John Morant. Let's get the John Morant picture up here. Yeah, both of these guys are in the hunt. So it's just been a weird, clunky year for the NBA. You know, traditionally the good teams, the Celtics, the Lakers, and I got to be honest with you, we're jumping on the bandwagon of the Bulls. They just got smacked in the mouth by the Brooklyn Nets, and they got smacked in the mouth last night by the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors were up like 40 points in the first half. So if you're a Chicago Bulls team, you really got to figure out, hey, what do we do well here? If you're the Lakers team, you know, do we have to rely on LeBron James to score 29 points a game? Is that where we're at? Is that where we're at? So that's the good, that's the bad, and now let's get to the funny. Okay. Again, Florida. What are we doing, Florida? What are we doing? Man arrested for peeing on a cop car. While the police officer was in the car, he didn't see him and he was urinating. Now, when he was arrested, he opened his mouth and he probably shouldn't have. And he said, this isn't the first or last time I pee on a cop car. Turns out this guy got drunk about 4 or 5 years ago at a bar and was verbally abusive to his then girlfriend. Police picked him up, spent the night in the drunk tank, drove the girlfriend home. The next day, the girlfriend breaks up with him, and she winds up marrying the same police officer who drove her home. So his thing was, I've peed on over 1,000 cop cars. That's what he admitted to, because that cop stole my girlfriend. Dude, breakups are hard. We know they're hard. I've probably broken up with about 95% of the women I've dated, and it's still hard. You know, even though you may not love them, it's hard. You spend time with them, you have memories. But dude, not every cop is stealing your girlfriend. Get over it. There are 6 billion people in the world. And here's what I say. When I lived in California, there was this homeless man who was always outside of Trader Joe's, right? The guy had one tooth. Homeless guy. He had a girlfriend. A homeless man with one tooth had a girlfriend. So, dude, stop attacking police officers. Get over it. Find yourself another woman. I mean, really? I've peed on over 1,000 cop cars because someone, a police officer, he didn't steal your girlfriend. Maybe if you would have treated her better. All right. All right. So that's the good, the bad, and the funny. Okay. So I just want to talk about this before we get former NFL quarterback Gus Frerotte on, host of Huddle Up with Gus. So I say this all the time about politics, about COVID. You are entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own set of facts. You could have your own opinion. For example, you could tell me that Allen Iverson was better than Kobe Bryant. I'm not going to argue. That's your opinion. I'm not here to sway people's opinions. But again, when it comes to politics, when it comes to COVID, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. It's not doing research, reading a blog about COVID-19. Doing research is in a lab, in a data with scientists, with doctors. So I'm going to say something here, and this is all fact. It's not opinion. What LeBron James, and people may not like him, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. What LeBron James is doing right now is beyond insane. It's beyond insane. Okay? He's averaging 29 points a game, 7.4 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.1 block, 2 steals. He's shooting 52% from the field. And remember last year and over the last couple of years, he was terrible at the free throw line. He's shooting 77%. This is a guy who's been doing this in the NBA for almost 20 years. And he's getting better. It's insane. These are facts. These aren't opinions. Now, one of the greatest basketball, let's look at some of the greatest basketball players of all time. Magic Johnson in his final season. Now, remember, this is LeBron doing this for almost 20 years. In his 13th year, Magic averaged 14 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Michael Jordan in his 15th season, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Again, LeBron is averaging 29 points per game. How is he still doing it? Larry Bird, who's one of the greatest players of all time, in his 13th year, not his 18th, 19th, or 20th year, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Now, finally, you want to say, okay, you're comparing him to guards. Let's compare him to a power forward. Tim Duncan, probably the greatest power forward in the NBA. In his 19th year, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. So you could despise LeBron, and I don't want to hear he's chasing a ring. Okay, Charles Barkley criticizes LeBron all the time. He couldn't win in Philadelphia. He went to a super team in Phoenix, couldn't win there, created a super team in Houston. Shaquille O'Neal has played for 6 teams chasing a ring. Kevin Garnett, 3 teams. So let's stop talking about, chasing a ring. LeBron has been in the NBA Finals when his team has won. He's been the Finals MVP every time. So I don't care if you don't like LeBron. I don't care if you think he's the greatest of all time. That's not the argument here. What I'm saying, he's doing this. He's going to lead the league in scoring. How is that even possible? It's like people always say, oh, Tom Brady is slowing down. He's not slowing down. It's crazy that what LeBron James is doing. Again, if you just want to compare him to one player, let's compare him to Tim Duncan, who was in the league for 19 years. In his 19th year, Tim Duncan, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. So whatever LeBron has taken, whatever he is doing, wow, it is unbelievable how much he has stayed the best player in the NBA throughout the years. Okay, let's get to the comments. Yeah, exactly. A lot of Chicago Bears talk. And Nagy, let it go. He's fired. Move on. Let it go. And George, great comment about the Florida because we have the dumbest criminals in the world. Okay, We love having him on. He comes on every 2 weeks. Former NFL quarterback, host of Huddle Up with Gus, Gus Frerotte. Gus, thanks so much for joining us this morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing on this super wild card weekend?
I am so fired up for this. A lot of people keep texting me and emailing me, and they say they kind of get depressed when when the playoffs start because they realize football's coming to an end. And this may sound weird. I don't know how you feel about this, but I really think that even though it was a longer season, it seems like this NFL season flew by.
They all do. Whether you're watching or you're a player, it always flies by. And then it seems like it's so far away, but then it comes around the corner really
Yeah.
fast again. Because, the NFL does a great job of the draft, the combine, all those things. There's that lull right in kind of May, June, July. But once training camp starts back up, Hard Knocks is back on and
Yeah.
it's back at it.
Back at it. My friend Bill from New Jersey sent me an email, and it's a great question for you, Gus. I'm a former coach, so I'm very hard on coaches. We'll get into the Chargers debacle, Staley, and what's going on with Robert Saleh in New York. But he says, as a former NFL player of over 15 years experience, are you harder on quarterbacks or are you more lenient because you know what they go through when you're assessing them?
Well, it's a little bit of that's a big question, right? Because sometimes quarterbacks have all this talent. That's why they're taking number one. They're the guy that's had the ball their whole career. But then when I see them get into the pros, I wonder why they take a step back. And the only reason you can look at is that it's coaching. And a lot of guys, and no offense to coaches, but some of them don't know how to coach individuals. They're really smart with the game and they understand it. But then to be receptive to your quarterback, his talents, his emotions, his mental status, those are things a lot of coaches don't want to deal with. They want to say, learn our offense, do it this way, or you're not going to be any, they show signs. If you look at I'm trying to think of the last quarterback, Joey Harrington, maybe he came out and said, look, I didn't fit into that offense. I know that several quarterbacks, Heath Schuler, when he was on my show,
Right.
came out and said, that wasn't the offense for me at all. So even though these teams do, if you go back when I visited Ezekiel down in Dallas and their, practice facility, they have these glass cases with like Troy Aikman's scouting report and then Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin, the big three. And, there's 300 pages in each one of those. So what are people doing and looking at for quarterbacks and other athletes? Is it just their performance on the field? Is it their emotional, mental status? It takes all three of these things to be an incredible player in the NFL. And there's very few who can do it.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw Trubisky came out and basically said that during training camp, he told Matt Nagy, he said, "Hey, man, these plays aren't working. This is not the right offense." And they told him, hey, Matt Nagy said, "Hey, just trust the process." So my next question for you is: we see every Monday, they coaches getting fired. Has there ever been a coach that you had and midway through the season or the end of the season, you're like, oh my goodness, we know this guy's going to get fired? Um, and how does that affect the locker room? Has that ever happened to you where you're like, this coach is going to get fired? What do you do when that happens?
Well, it's kind of funny. I played for 7 teams, so I was probably out before the coaches were in all those teams. But just to think about that, I can't recall anybody that I've ever, any team that I've been on where the coach was fired immediately after that season. Now I've seen them a couple seasons after, or the next season after, where they've been fired. But these guys, they're human. Their jobs are on the line, and sometimes they don't always know how to deal with those things. Because as we seen, Brian Flores in Miami, it wasn't about what his record was or the performance on the field. So it had to be something else. It was whether he didn't have a great exit, interview after the season, or if there were a lot of guys saying that they didn't like this about him. You have to understand that when you're a coach, you're in control of not only all the players, the staff, your other coaches. And there's one thing you can't do is belittle anybody, because then they will not coach for you. They will not play for you. And if that gets found out, a good owner is going to say, we have to get somebody better in here. Or they have to go to the coach and say, look, we understand you have some some misgivings, right? We understand where your weak points are. How can we help you get better? And it's up to coach to have enough cojones to say, yes, I need to get better. I need to understand our players better, because these are men, these are people, and it's more than just the X's and O's on the field.
You bring up a great point because we had Urban Meyer who said he was blaming coaches, calling them losers, and then you bring another guy like Tom Coughlin with the Giants, where the players came to him after a season and said, "Coach, this is not the military. You need to lighten up." And then when that happened, Tom Coughlin won 2 Super Bowls because he did lighten up. He did laugh more. I think Michael Strahan said, I've seen you out in the off season, you have a great personality. You're so funny, but when you're on the field coaching, you don't laugh, you don't smile. So you bring up a good point. And with Brian Flores, what confused me the most is, the Dolphins have had 5 winning seasons in 18 years. 2 of them came with Brian Flores. In 18 years, they haven't had back-to-back winning seasons. They did under him with a subpar quarterback who's injured, who's still learning, and it had to be something because I don't if I'm the Bears, I hire Brian Flores immediately. But are you saying that, maybe it was just his personality and the way he spoke to people and his people skills?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a big part of it. I mean, you look at Coach Tomlin at the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers have had the best personnel over the last 10 years. I mean, they've had some really good players, but Coach Tomlin, when you listen to him, and I've talked to him, he cares. He wants to understand those players in each of them. I mean, if he kept AB around for 9 years,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
understands people, and that's part of it. You're a coach, you're a therapist, you're a dad, you name it. You have to be a leader, and if you turn around and nobody's following you, then something's wrong.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And going to that, who was the best coach you were ever around and just deal because there's so many personalities. I spent most of my time coaching basketball. You have 12, 15 players, but when you have to deal with an entire roster, who was the best at really dealing with every personality differently?
Well, you know, he was very emotional. He was up and down a lot, and I think that what dictated sometimes how we played. But when I played for Coach Tice, because he was a former player, he was a
Mhm.
quarterback at one point, then he became a tight end, and he became a line coach, and then he became our head coach. Um, I think he dealt with the players pretty well, but then there's also points that where he didn't want to listen. But as far as dealing with the players, I liked what he did. Bobby Ross was kind of the same way when I played at the Lions. Um, and then I've had a lot of coaches that weren't head coaches. Cam Cameron, for instance, my first coach. Now, I don't know what happened to him after he left Washington, but when he was with me and with the other guys when he was young, man, we all gravitated towards him. He was awesome. And I think that he was like what you said. He was laughing, he was fun, but we were also serious because we all wanted the same goal. And I think that sometimes coaches miss that, right? It also it all of a sudden becomes a business to them, right? They have to meet with the GM, they have to meet with the owner, and then there's a lot of pressure put on them, and all of a sudden it becomes they're the you know it's not the game that it once was. Now it's a business, and every win and loss counts. But I think that sometimes they miss the point of the only way you're going to win and lose is if you do or don't get those guys that are playing on the field to follow you.
It's funny. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie North Dallas 40. It's an old movie. It's one of my favorite football movies of all time. I saw it as an adult. But there's a scene at the end of the game. They lose, and John Matuzak, the former Raider player, says, when that's the problem with you coaches. When you say it's a business, I say it's a sport. When you say it's a sport, you say it's a business, or vice versa. I don't know the exact line, but you
Right.
just brought that up. But you see also too, we see signs of when coaches leave. When Nick Saban left Miami, players were happy. So whatever he was selling there, for all the accolades he gets in college, it didn't work on the NFL level because players were outspoken and happy that he was gone.
Well, I was on that team in 2005, and I was the starting quarterback. And there's a lot of things I could say, but I won't. But
Okay.
um, I can just tell you that guys were not happy the way Coach was handling a lot of us players. We weren't kids in college.
Right.
We were adults. We were making money, And this was our job, but this was also our business too, right? And he treated us a lot of times like we were kids in college, that he could say or do whatever he wanted to us. I'll give you an example that we put together a team of leaders within our team. There was eight of us, and this was the first 2-day practice. And Coach Saban says, "Okay, what do you guys want? What do you like?" And every single one of us said we love the hard work. We all want to win. We want to sweat every day, put in the work. We didn't care about that, but we had one little thing. We wanted to take our helmets off when we stretched, right? And this is in the military. These aren't. This is what we asked for. It's the only thing we asked for. So we go out the next practice. We all take. We're basically following Junior Seau, who was our leader on that team, and we go to take our helmets off, and Nick lost it and kind of berated all of us, saying, this is his team. You can't take your helmets off. And, that was the one little thing we asked for, and he couldn't, he had to show his power, which I get that. Like, I think that's what makes him a really good college coach, is that these guys play for him. They listen to him. He can do some of those things. But when you're coaching men, Jason Taylor, who's making $15 million a year, and you're trying to, do certain things with them and talk down to them, those things don't work. And I think that guys recognize that right away.
Well, and not just that, that was a very talented team. But isn't the whole point of creating like a group of leaders to go to your coach and you guys come to an understanding? I mean, you weren't asking to cut back practices. You weren't asking to not hit. You were just asking to take off your helmets, and he lost his mind over that?
Yeah, there's just certain things that people don't want to budge on, and that's the point. Is that there are things that you can't budge on, saying, "Hey, we're not going to practice this week." You have to do certain things to be good in the NFL, right? Everyone knows that, but there are little things that you have to ask. Okay, why do you want to do that? Is it okay for me if I don't want you to do that? Like, not just let them leave, and then when they do it because they don't understand what you want, and then you try to take control over guys, and that's not the way to handle adult men. And we probably see that in business every day with leadership and CEOs who don't have people that are matched to them. Now, you're in the NFL, you have 53 guys you have to handle. Probably, 80% of them are not like you. So how do you deal with people that aren't like you and get them to be the best they can? And I don't know. There's a formula in the NFL, and some people have it and some people don't.
Now, would you say that was one of the most talented teams that you've ever played on? That Miami Dolphin team?
Oh, I love that team. That team, I can tell you, everybody on that team worked hard. We worked, I'll never forget in practice. Wes Welker was one of the receivers. We had, he just every day was so hot in Miami. It's humid. I mean, every practice is like that. And Wes was like an Energizer bunny. He never stopped. And I'd be under center, and you just hear him running by me from behind because there was so much sweat in his shoes. It would be like sound like Squidward. But none of us ever stopped. We would run after practice. We would do everything we could because we all wanted to win. We wanted the Dolphins to be great. We knew we had good players on that team. I mean, we were 9-6 in Nick's first season, and nothing but up from that for us. And then, things happen. Guys get to. I was let go. Their quarterback stepped in, didn't do it. And so I just felt like we had a really good thing, but then it was all gone after the season.
Is it frustrating for you? For example, you go and you win, you're successful in Miami, they make a change, and then they go 6-10 the following year. Do you ever look back and say, man, I wish I was there for another year because we started something good your first year there? Do you ever look back at that? Because I'm a former college basketball coach. I won a lot of AAU tournaments. My last year coaching college basketball, we lost to the national championship by 1 point. So I'm during March Madness, my players will text me, and it's still emotional. We made it to the Elite Eight. We finished 6th in the country. As someone who you got close, I mean, when you watch these playoffs now, do you ever? I say this all the time, and people don't understand. I remember the few losses I had in my coaching career more so than the championships I've won, because I never won the college basketball NCAA championship. Now, we won a Division III NIT, which I don't care about. I've won 85% of my games. You were in the league for 17 years. You got close. When you watch the playoffs now, is a part of you sad that, damn, I just wanted to get to that Super Bowl?
Well, yeah, anybody who didn't always wants to, I can think back to many teams that I was on. When I started with the Broncos, and we played that great Ravens team when they just demolished everybody in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. I look back to that, 2 or 3 throws still cross my mind. If, I could have made those throws. I mean, we didn't lose by much. We had a really good defense. We had a good team. Coach Shanahan was our coach. And we went there and we had a mindset that we could win. And they were just really, really good. And I look back and say, you know what? We played the best against that Ravens defense compared to everybody else in the playoffs that year, even that Super Bowl game they played in, because they just ran through people. But I also look back to when I was with the Vikings and we lost the game to the Eagles to go to the NFC Championship game. We had a really good team. Dante Culpepper was our quarterback. Moss, we just had such a good team. We should have went further. And I know everybody else thinks the same thing too. Even in Detroit, when
I was going to say your Detroit team, no one expected you because you said Barry Sanders retired the year before, but you guys were a very well-balanced team.
I love that team, and I feel like everything started in the locker room with us. We were such a close-knit unit. We brought everybody in. There were issues, there were problems, but we handled all that stuff. And, we were pretty good going into that season. We beat the Rams, the only team to beat the Super Bowl champs that year. But I look at that and say, I wish we would have done a few things different in the playoffs. We could have been better. And I think everybody else realized that too. And then you go to other teams, even like the Dolphins that year. We didn't make the playoffs, but we were very close. And, that makes you feel really good and say what could have been if a few plays were different. So I look back at a lot of that, and I could probably look at a lot of plays myself and say, hey, I could have been way better. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's what happened, and I would love to be there.
For me, March Madness, it's emotional for me because I see a team lose at the buzzer, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. Like, I'll dream about the game we lost because we were so close to getting to the Final Four. And one of the things I did learn from that is our goal all year was get to the Final Four. That was like before every practice, we put our hands in Final Four. We got to the Elite Eight. Out of 400 teams, we finished 6th in the country. So one of my things that I tell people is set your goals high because even if you don't reach them, you could still be a success. They put me in the Hall of Fame at Ramapo College for that year because we had such a great year. So when you look back at the playoffs now starting, do those old feelings and losses come up? For example, for the Detroit Lions, for the Minnesota Vikings, do you relive that at all?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
Okay.
you're not going to get, like I tell my wife, like I'm going to do things in my life, whether it's business or my podcast or whatever, but you're never going to have the highs and lows that I had playing in the NFL. Like that was my dream job, and I had it for 15 years, and I got to share it with many, many people. And those emotions come back all the time, whether it was losing a game and my wife and family there supported me, or winning a game and getting to go on and play the next week. So there were so many things that happened. And even when I watch regular season games of old teams that I played for, I see names that I know. A lot of that stuff comes flying back. And, it's very emotional.
Yeah, I mean, every March Madness, I get a little bit depressed. I wonder if we won the national championship, if I would still have those emotions. All right, so we're talking about the playoffs here. As a former quarterback, what changes during playoffs? I know you're supposed to be focused during the season. I know you watch film, but talk about as a player what happens with your family. For instance, I know that Tom Brady, LeBron James does a total media you didn't have that back then with Twitter, but a total media blackout during the playoffs. What changes what changed for you during the playoffs?
It's focus, and it's a different intensity. Everybody plays hard. You play week to week, but then, you play this long season, and yeah, everybody's wore out, everybody's tired, but now you got a new life, you got a new breath of life, and you can go and it's starting over. We're all zero, and it's all 0-0. And even though you may be the last team in, you have a chance, and that's all you can ask for. And anytime you're playing in any sport, whether it's basketball, baseball, hockey, football, when you have a chance and this is the time that you can take it over, and we've seen it. It's just a different atmosphere. It's a different tempo in practice. If you think about it, I mean, these guys, how many routes, how many balls have you thrown? How many times has the lineman been hit and everything? But it's just a different now all of a sudden you take a deep breath, and it's definitely a whole different feeling when you get to the playoffs.
And how does that affect your marriage, your kids, your immediate family? Do they know, hey, listen, Gus will not be around for the next 6, 7 days?
Well, usually people, that you marry, they're super involved in everything that you're doing. So in the they're fans, they want you to win, and they understand the intensity once the playoffs get there. So you may spend a little more time watching film. You may do things. So when you have a supportive family, a wife like I did, she knew that it was going to be a little tougher, maybe longer days. But we also knew it wasn't going to last forever. Like if you do get to go to play in a Super Bowl, it's going to be a month. And if you get to win the Super Bowl, there's going to be a lot of good things that happen for you for the rest of your life. So I think you're all in it together, even though they're not at practice. But if they're a part of your life, and as mine were, we all work together and we do the best we can so that we're good at our job and we're good at being parents.
So I wasn't shocked that the Chargers lost. I've been since week 2 on my show. I said Brandon Staley has no idea what he's doing. He, like you said, he may be a great X's and O guy in practice, but I don't even want to get into that because it's been beaten to death. As a former quarterback, talk about Justin Herbert. I watched this guy do things, and I said it coming out. I think he would win Rookie of the Year. Got lucky with that. But when you watch this guy play, he's way above the curve, right? This is his second year. I mean, how many fourth down completions where they knew he was going to pass? This guy never panics. When you watch him, is he as good as I think he is?
Oh, there's no doubt. Nerves of steel, right? And you don't see him. I think he gets frustrated when you get hit. Like, how are you not helping protect me from Max Crosby? That's what I don't understand. That's not him, right? That's not him. That's the coach understanding who the Raiders' best pass rusher is and putting somebody on him. Like, yeah, fourth down. Like, all right, you've been doing that all year. I get it. Maybe not at the 18-yard line, but how do you not protect your quarterback when you know he's a stud, when you know he has nerves of steel? And we saw it time after time, fourth down, throwing the huge pass, and I love Justin Herbert. I think he's going to be an incredible quarterback for a long period. He's big, and we know he can take a hit because we saw it all game against the Raiders. And one thing I'll never forget is when I was playing for Norv Turner, Norv loved to see you get hit. He's going to call big play action play, next play, and want to see you get up and make that deep in route throw. And that brought back, we're talking about bringing back memories. When I would see Justin get up and grass all in his helmet, and then all of a sudden he's got to make this incredible fourth down throw. He did it time and time again. And that's not easy. Even if the guy is wide open, you're still, he didn't get sticker shock by getting hit and getting up and be like, where are they coming from? My man stood in there. And like I tweeted out that day, if you love football and you watch Justin Herbert play, there's nothing you can do but respect him.
It's funny because you talk about Norv Turner, and you've brought this up before on the show, that you knew when you knew you were going to get hit and you would stand in there. But we're hearing stories now that Zimmer really didn't watch a lot of film with the offense and the quarterback. Have you ever had a head coach who was like, I'm not even going in the offensive film room with you?
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're a defensive coach, you know what I mean? You got an offensive coordinator. He's like the offensive head coach, right?
Right.
The head coach will come in from time to time to check on everybody, see how they're doing. Coach Saban was kind of like that, where he only came in from time to time to check on us, to ask us some questions, and then would just kind of leave us alone with Scott Linehan. And I think that when you have a defensive head coach, that happens, right? They want to come in, have a kind of quick understanding of what's going on. They probably get their whole game plan in coaches meetings from the coordinator, where they sit and they say, okay, what's a game plan? What we're going to do? Run the ball, throw the ball? Are we max protecting? What kind of defense they have? All those kind of things he probably gets outside of what we would see as players. But we know they're communicating. The head coach is the one that makes the final calls. If it's a big situation, hey, what are we going to do? Should we kick it or run it? That's the head coach's call all the way. I think that Coach Zimmer probably understood the game plans that Kubiak was calling. I think that it was just, he didn't have to be in the actual quarterback offensive coordinator, quarterback coach meeting, probably because he probably got it at another time.
So I've played, I've coached, and one of the things that I can't stand is the Thursday night game. And just because I'm siding with the players on here. We all love the extra week. I love the new playoff format. I only think one team, it makes it more. You can't sit your starters, the last game of the season because you're still battling for the bye like the Packers were. How do you feel about the Thursday night game? I'm not a fan of it. I think players, if you want to extend the season and you want to play an extra game, give them Thursday off. I know they won't do it because of revenue, but players need Thursday, Friday. They're still healing.
Well, until the players go into the collective bargaining agreement and say we don't want to play it during the week, that's never going to happen because it's too much of a moneymaker. If you've ever looked at the stats of the most watched things on TV, the NFL is like top 20 in everything. Right?
Everybody watches everything.
So if you tell the NFL, hey, we're going to take away Thursday games, they're going to laugh at you, right? That's such a huge revenue, and they get most of their money from TV revenue. Now they have tons of competition, where it's Fox, it's CBS, it's ESPN, Amazon now. Amazon, I think, is going to be on, everything's going to be on Prime for Thursday night football. Yep. So they're making a ton of money. The owners are making a ton of money. And the thing is hey, maybe what the player should say is like, hey, we got to treat this like an extra game, and maybe we get paid a little bit more or something happens. But there's good and bad to it, right? There's good and bad to it because you play quick, but you get a long break. So it's a tough week, right?
How about this, Gus? How about if you're playing on Thursday night, you don't play on that Sunday. You have a bye Sunday, and then you go a full week, and then you play Thursday. How about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that would be really tough. I think they could probably figure that out and schedule it. Who would have their bye before a Thursday night game? But I think teams would play multiple times on Thursday night. And it's surprising to me that they don't even switch games for Monday night games because, if there's two teams that are 2-11, nobody really wants to watch them. And usually, I think that my always wish was if teams are good, people want to watch that. So make that the game of the week and put it on Monday night.
So you're saying just flex it, right?
Flex it, yeah. And, the players don't care. We know that we're going to go out and play and we're going to be tired. It's going to be rough. It's a physical, violent game. And you got to get ready. And there's going to be there's been Thursday night for a long time. And the league, the coaches, everybody does a lot now to give the players a break. Like if you talk to a lot of the old school players, they go play a game Sunday and Monday be in full pads again. Doing goal line offense because they weren't very good at it. So that stuff doesn't happen. And I think that it's not going to change unless the players all come together as a union and just say, we don't want to do this. And then it'll be talked about and it'll still be decided by the owners. Because if you think about it, the players have been asking for guaranteed contracts for a long, long time. And we are the only professional league that doesn't have guaranteed contracts where they can cut you at any moment and don't have to pay you.
Exactly. I remember a few years ago, Latrell Sprewell choked his coach, PJ Carlissimo, but he had a guaranteed contract, so they still had to pay him. Now they won't do that because there are things, detrimental to the team or code of conduct. But yeah, that was crazy. All right, let's get to the games. One of the things that I thought, the internet wins so many times here. Here is, Derek Carr and Joe Burrow as Home Alone. So break this game down. Listen, I can make the argument, right, that the Raiders coaching staff should win Coach of the Year. I mean,
my buddy Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, is doing an amazing job. And I've talked to him a lot through the season. And like before the whole Gruden thing, a lot of them knew what was going to happen. But the players didn't. And the players probably were shocked and where are we going to go? But the assistant coaches did such a good job of holding that team together. You almost got to root for them. But when I look at the Home Alone picture and, I see who was trying to break into the house and who won that Home Alone in the movies, I feel the same way. Like you got to feel for the bandits, right? They're trying to break in and everything's happening to them. They're getting tar poured on them or whatever. There's nails in them. They're getting shot by stuff, spiders on their face. But somehow little Macaulay Culkin outwits them the whole time. And I feel like that's Joe Burrow exactly, right? He's going to outwit them. He's played a lot of teams, and when it comes to big games, there might not be any quarterback that you wouldn't want under center than Joe Burrow.
And it's funny too because he doesn't get a lot of recognition, but Greg Olson's going to be a head coach in no time.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think Ole's very happy with his where he is. I don't know if he'd ever want to be a head coach, but he's definitely going to have calls, and they're going to say, "Hey, coach, we want you to come be our head coach." And Greg's been around a long time, and I think he's very comfortable with being just an OC and calling. It's not just an OC, but an OC and calling plays, because sometimes that's even better because you don't have all the pressures, right? A head coach has a lot of pressure put on him, and sometimes guys are just happy just doing what they love.
We had the assistant coach from Clemson, the defensive coordinator. They asked him one time, how come you don't go for head coaching jobs, where he just got named the coach of Oklahoma? But he said, I love defense. I focus on defense. Dabo's my best friend in the world. He gives me total control. He's like, I'm doing what I love, and they're paying me an insane amount of money. So there is something to be said of being the guy behind the guy, right? Like Tom Hagen from The Godfather, making all the decisions, influencing. So you're saying Greg Olson doesn't have that desire to be a head coach yet?
I don't think so. I think, without that, I mean, why wouldn't have they named him interim head coach? They might have asked him because Gruden's an offense. He knows the offensive system. And we see I think it's a special teams coach, right? That is now the head coach at the Raiders. Yep. So to me, knowing Ole, as we call him, I think he's very comfortable in that situation. And I think that, I'm not understanding all of his situations in life, but he's doing a great job. Why change it? Like sometimes, they're going to throw a boatload of money at you. I'm sure that's what they did to the Clemson defensive coordinator, throw a ton of money at you and get you. I mean, who wants to turn it down? If I'm not successful as a coach, I'm still going to get paid. I'm not like a player.
Right. That's a good point. All right. So you have the Bengals winning this. Greg is calling for the Eagles to upset Tom Brady and the Bucs. Is he crazy, Gus?
No, I called for it too.
Whoa.
I mean, I know they're getting 9.5, the spread. I think they'll beat the spread, but to outright beat them, they have to control the football. They have a good enough run game that they can do that. Obviously, they have an all-pro center and the Bucs defense isn't what it used to be. Now, obviously, you can't count Tom Brady out, but I did call it before I knew Leonard Fournette was coming back.
Yeah,
right?
Well, actually, he had 69 catches on the year. You don't think of Leonard Fournette as a dual threat back, but without Antonio Brown, they were 6-0 with Antonio Brown in the lineup. Without Godwin, look for Leonard Fournette to catch a lot of balls out of the backfield.
Well, yeah, I mean, Tom loves his tight ends, right? So he understands how to spread the ball around. Obviously, he's been in situations like this. Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, you're going to have your tight ends big. And, I look for, what's the receiver's name? Miller, last name?
Yeah, Miller.
Yeah, that's a kid that's going to probably surprise somebody and, make some catches. And, Tom's wily. He understands the game. He understands who he has. He's going to study the Eagles defense like nobody else. But I just kind of want the Eagles to win. And I think that if their run game is good enough, they're going to have a chance in the fourth quarter.
You talk about, you said Wes Welker. Scott Miller for the Bucs could be that today on third down, over the middle, getting 4, 5, 6 yards. And like you said, Tom Brady can find anyone. It's just going to be interesting to see because the Eagles are the #1 running team since week 8, averaging 160 yards per game on the ground with Jalen Hurts and their trio of backs. So how do you beat the Bucs, right? How do you beat the Packers? How do you beat the Chiefs? You keep that prolific offense on the sideline. But I think if I'm the Eagles, Gus, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the first 2 or 3 plays I do play action and I throw the ball deep, whether it's successful or not, because you don't want this Tampa Bay Bucs defense to be sitting on the run.
Well, we've seen that in the last few weeks where, we know teams that run the ball, the teams have just gone all out and tried to stop the run and putting the pressure on the quarterback. And I'm sure the Tampa Bay is going to do that. And you need to have some plays in where you can just protect Jalen Hurts, give him an opportunity to do both run and pass or pass and run, put him on a little half roll, protect them, get them out there. And like you said, let your receivers work. They got some good receivers. They're not the top in the league, but they're fast enough to get by any corner, and just given an opportunity. And if you can hit a big play early, boy, that's going to help you in the long run of the game.
And definitely open up the running game. Okay, Gus, talking with Gus Frerotte here, host of Huddle Up with Gus. Before we get to your show, I'm going to bring a couple guys on, talk a little bit more football here. We call these guys the three wise men. I don't know why. It's Levi, it's George Lopez, and Rico Graziano, the three wise men of this show. So let's bring them on. All right, Gus, we'll start with you. I know it's a long shot, but tell me how Pittsburgh can keep this game competitive against the Chiefs as Rico laughs hysterically.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard, but I mean, you can't ever count Big Ben out, right? It's going to be hard. It's going to be loud, and it's not going to affect Big Ben, but, you know, their team is prolific with the Chiefs. They have incredible players. If they can score a lot early, because we know the Steelers have a terrible time scoring points in the first half. And that's what they have to do. They have to keep the ball. They have to score points in the first half. And just like you said about Leonard Fournette, they got to get Najee Harris the ball somehow besides just handing it off to him.
You know, I look at Najee Harris, and Rico, you could jump in here. He never comes off the field, right? He plays almost every snap. He gets hit behind the line of scrimmage all the time. Rico, we know he's not going to win Rookie of the Year, but how good has he been saving the Steelers season?
Well, saving the season, I mean, again, he gets hit behind the line all the time. As a Steeler fan, I actually feel bad for him sometimes. When I'm watching him, I'm like, oh, this poor guy. Like, if he had a half-decent line behind him, think of the crazy year he would have. It's, you know, I mean, like Gus said, like they have to get the running game going off the ground right away. But I don't know, man. It's a tall order, and you know, I wish I could say there was a game that we had this year that I felt confident and said if we played like that week, right. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, if we play like that week, we could win. But there's not a week in the season where I could say that about the Steelers.
Well, I think, yeah, Rico, I think that, you know, with Big Ben, they still try to do the RPOs. But Ben's not running anywhere. So that's a whole, I think, an issue for that offense. They're trying to do that. And, you know, Ben is it's just a handoff. It's not like what you see with other quarterbacks in the league. I would love to see them get the fullback involved, let Ben or center, and go pound the Chiefs D line.
Right. not TJ Watt, the other Watt brother. I forgot his name.
Third Watt.
The third one.
Rico looks like Clark Kent today. How about that? You got a new hairdo, new haircut?
Is that a good thing? No, I felt like I combed it the other way today.
Rico put on mousse today.
Yeah.
You guys saying he showered. That's good.
Yeah. He put on mousse. Showered. That's a good
I won't go Clark Kent. I would have said Jimmy Olsen.
Wow, that's like the nerdiest character in Superman, right? The
hey,
reporter?
Gus, did any of your friends? I grew up with a guy named Gus. Did they ever call you Goose?
Sometimes people would, but hey, you know what?
You didn't answer, right?
No, Gus is enough of a nickname. You don't need to call me anything else.
Okay, so let's get Levi involved here, and then we'll get Gus one more time. Then we'll get information on your show, Gus, and get him out of here. So, Levi, the only coach I don't want to face in the postseason is Bill Belichick. So what are your thoughts today with your Bills and Josh Allen? You have to have some sort of confidence, right? Because after losing to them, you came back and you pretty much dominated that game and made Mac Jones look like a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying before the year started, Belichick always scares me. He scares me today. But other than the coaching advantage, I think the Bills have an advantage everywhere else. Obviously at quarterback, wide receiver, could maybe say the Patriots have an advantage at running back, and maybe on defense, but I think even on defense, the Bills are a little bit better. So, and we're at home and we're rested and we have a lot to prove. So I'm not too scared about today's game, except for Belichick.
Wow, I've never seen Levi this confident talking about his Bills, Rico.
I know. I'm kind of shocked. You know what it is? He's in Florida. He's at one of our friends, probably our most successful friend's house. That picture behind. See, there he is.
That's my good luck charm right there.
Yeah, right there. That's probably a Picasso in the background.
Rico, you got a beautiful picture too. That Marilyn Monroe.
I'm sure that one that he has is much nicer than mine.
All right, Gus. Before we let you go here, first, if you had to take the final four, the final two teams in the AFC, and then the final two teams in the NFC, give us that prediction and give us. I know it's early on. Give us your Super Bowl two teams.
I think it's going to be the Chiefs, and my gut is telling me the Bengals. I'd love to see that matchup. I think they can carry it on. It is a big wish, but everybody else is kind of right on the edge for me. If it's going to go through Buffalo, they better hope that it's a snowy game and Josh Allen can run the ball a lot. But I think they're going to wear out the Patriots this week. And then on the NFC side, I picked the Eagles, but I don't think they're going to go much further than that because they're going to run into Green Bay at some point. And I think it's going to be Green Bay who wins it overall. Now in the NFC Championship game, I'm not sure if it's not going to be Tampa Bay, and I mean that's like I'm kind of going against myself.
Are you high on the Rams, or you're not high on the Rams?
I do like the Rams. Obviously, they have an incredible defense. This is the year for the Rams. If you're going to talk about a team that needs to win it, because they got all veterans, they don't have a lot of young players on that team, and they got Matthew Stafford. They have a lot of guys that are going to be Hall of Famers. And if this is a year, they got to win it. And I think there's only one person that's going to help him do that, and that's Matt Stafford. And he can't make the bad throws going into these playoffs because it will hurt them.
Okay, and so who do you have in the Super Bowl? Chiefs, Packers?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Chiefs, Packers if you look at it. I mean, it's going to go back to that. I think Aaron Rodgers is playing at an unreal level. And, if LA's got to go to Green Bay, it's gonna, depending on the weather, when you watch other Southern teams come up to Green Bay, it's never a good day for them.
Yeah. My friend Andrea, who lives in Wisconsin, likes the Bears. She is so miserable that there's so much Packer talk going right now.
Well, hey, look, Andrea, I played for the Vikings. I get you. And the Lions. So I don't want the Packers either, but sometime I got to be a realist.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, Gus. So how can we follow you? Talk about your show. I know before the new year we were talking about whether or not you're going to pick a consistent 1 or 2 days. Have you narrowed it down to when the best time is for the fans?
Yeah, so we're going to come out every Monday with the podcast again. I think that we're going to stay with that, put it out every Monday. And this week I had 2 incredible interviews. I interviewed Dottie Pepper, who's the lead walker for CBS Golf. So the Masters, PGA Championship, she's out there. She's talking. She was a great interview. She was an LPGA champion. What a wonderful interview. And a couple days ago, I got to interview Warren Moon and talk about his incredible year. And he's the only guy that's a Hall of Famer in the CFL and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So check those out. Everybody can find me at Huddle Up with Gus or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Yeah. All right, Gus, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Always appreciate your support coming on. I can't tell you how many emails I get after the show on, wow, I've become so smarter just listening to your insight. So
well, that's really all because of Rico. That's all because of Rico.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Gus.
Everyone looks smarter when Rico's on. That's the whole point. That's why I have him on.
All right. Thanks, Gus, fellas.
We'll see you in a few weeks.
See you.
Gus is phenomenal. Does a great job. Yeah, Rico, I just got a text. Does Rico does the budget allow Rico to get a hairstylist? And they're talking about the painting behind Levi. Like, how much is that worth?
Again, his confidence is up because he's with one of our close friends, who one of our best buddies, who's very our most successul friend probably. So,
Rico doesn't know the word budget.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Coming from George, who I don't know what connections he has, but 2 days ago texts us, "Hey, I'm going to the Rams game." He's going to the playoff game.
Yeah, because I found tickets for less than $90. That's why.
Oh yeah, $90.
Uh-huh.
All right, guys, let's get to it. We got a lot of football talk to talk about. Let's start with you, Rico. Going in order, give us your teams left in the playoffs, the worst team to the best team remaining.
Well, I could run down each one and give you a little reason why, but majority of I mean, you got Pittsburgh Raiders. I'm not on the Philly bandwagon. I don't know much about them, so I have them as one of my worst teams on the list. And then I go to San Francisco, and here's a little shocker. I'm not crazy about Arizona. Like I said, first game of the playoffs. I've been saying it all year. I think they don't get past the Rams.
Okay.
I think then it's Cincy, Pats, Rams, Dallas, Titans, KC, and Green Bay. That's my top to bottom list.
Whoa. Levi, you okay there? It looks
Wait.
like you had a malfunction.
Who's your? First of all, I totally agree with you with Philly. I don't know what Gus was talking about with Philly beating
Yeah.
Tampa. I didn't see
Greg
any
has
of
them
the
winning
numbers.
too. Greg has
There's no-
Philly winning.
You guys are crazy. Stop betting against Brady. You're just losing your money. It's stupid.
Yeah, exactly. That's Brady's gonna fall to the Eagles. I can't
For sure,
see
for
it.
sure. And Tampa's strength is the run defense. So yeah, Philly can run the ball. Tampa can stop the run.
Okay, so why were you shaking your head at Rico's picks?
Well, who is your number one? Did you say Cincy was your top rated team?
No.
Okay, I
Cincinnati's in the
misheard.
middle of the pack. Actually, I'm looking at my list right now. I don't even see the Bills. I think I was saving the Bills.
Oh,
for higher.
okay, yeah, that's why. I was
No.
wondering where you had the Bills. That was my ultimate
Yeah,
question there.
Bills
Okay, I
would
get
go
it.
between. I think the Bills would go between the Rams and Dallas because I'm on the Dallas bandwagon.
I
Okay.
like Dallas. I think.
All right.
I like Dallas.
Levi, give us
Yeah.
your quarterback rankings, worst to first remaining. I know Ben Roethlisberger is going to be the worst.
You're talking about for fantasy, right?
No, I'm talking about for the playoffs. Who you taking?
Oh,
He doesn't know. He doesn't talk
I mean,
anything but fantasy.
Yeah, he
I know,
does.
seriously.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
so let me think about it. Rodgers is obviously number one.
Right.
Brady's obviously number two.
Wait a minute. The GOAT is not number 1 or 2 and Patrick Mahomes for you?
Wait. Well,
Well,
we're
that's
not
'cause
talking
he's not
about
the
fantasy
GOAT.
right now. We're talking about real life.
All right.
You can't bet against Brady. How many times does he have to prove it? You just can't bet against Brady. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, that's fair
Yeah.
enough. But you think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time?
No, I think he's the second best. No, I'm actually kidding. He's not. Peyton Manning is up there. Aaron Rodgers is up there. But I think he's probably the best quarterback right now.
All right, George, coaching. I mean, I look at Mike Tomlin and I could say he could be one of the best coaches remaining. Obviously, Bill Belichick's number one. I know you love Sean McVay. I love what Matt LaFleur, how he's changed this team over the first 3 years. They've won 13, 13, and 13, but he's changed the team. So rate your coaches left in this playoffs?
Well, obviously, yeah, Bill Belichick is number one. Even without the cheating, he's even better. Number two, I actually have Andy Reid. Number three, Mike Tomlin, and I'm going based on these guys, who actually won a championship. Number four, I would say LaFleur. Number five is McVay. Number six is who would I have at number six?
Now you don't have Shanahan over McVay. Interesting. He's won 5 straight against him, right?
Doesn't mean anything. But sometimes the matchups are, he matches up well with them. He knows McVay's. They basically come from the same coaching tree, so he knows how to scheme against.
They're best friends, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Shanahan, I actually have maybe 7 or 8 right now because he's proven to me 2 times in the Super Bowl. In the fourth quarter, he doesn't know how to coach.
Yeah.
Offensive coordinator in Atlanta, and he screwed up 28-3, and we saw what he did against Kansas City.
What about this?
McCarthy. I'm not sold on him. He had his moments. I mean,
you're
you
not
can say
sold.
the same thing. Barry Switzer has a ring, but that don't mean squat. He sucks as an NFL coach.
Oh, shots fired right there. Shots fired. Barry Switzer has a ring. Wow. Okay, Rico, every Monday some coaches get fired. I talked to Gus earlier about the situation in Miami. Over the last 18 years, the Dolphins has had 5 winning seasons. Brian Flores has had 2 of them. The Dolphins have never had back-to-back winning season except under Flores. Is there any coach? I think Brandon Staley should have got fired. I think Robert Saleh of the Jets should have got fired. Is there any coach that you think should have got fired and didn't, or were you shocked at the firings?
I was shocked that John Gruden got fired.
No. Gruden retired.
I'm only kidding.
Resigned.
It was too easy. My biggest shock was Joe Judge, because you know what? Nobody was calling for terrible team, should have got fired, but nobody was calling for his head. Like nobody was like.
I have since last year, and
Yeah,
Daniel
You've been
Jones was a
screaming
joke.
about it since last year. But I didn't see the fans.
Dude, they ran a quarterback sneak on third down. I mean,
Aaron Rodgers even called them out.
you can't
Third
do
and
that.
9, they ran a
I'm
quarterback
sorry, even
sneak.
I know better.
Yeah, I mean, is it a firing offense?
His record is.
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
you know what it was? I was just surprised because nobody was calling for his head. I mean, he did make some questionable calls, apparently, but like, I know people in New York, nobody was like, fire him, fire. Like, they listened to the fans, but it was surprising to me. And I figured they'd give him one more year to choke.
I think Brandon Staley will be fired next year for the Chargers. I think Robert Saleh is going to get fired. Both terrible jobs this year. Okay, Levi, there's a lot of talk. College football.
Monte, hold on real quick. I might say something about that. That's the problem with a lot of teams. They pull the trigger way too soon. Mike Tomlin, how long has he been with Pittsburgh? Granted, he hasn't had a losing season ever. He's been 500 or better every year. John Harbaugh, he hasn't had, they didn't fire him. He doesn't win all the time. You gotta have consistency. The best teams do that. The teams that are mediocre or struggle, within 2 to 3 years, they're firing their coach. There's no consistency there.
You're 100% correct. But I've been saying it since week 2. Brandon Staley doesn't know how to call a game. 12 men on the field. Every game, he'd have 12 defensive players on the field. They had a 37-yard completion in overtime against the Raiders. And what happens? They had this penalty over 15 times. Illegal man downfield because they don't know how to run the RPO. Brandon Staley is atrocious. Justin Herbert won despite him. I've been saying that since week 2. And here's the biggest problem, George. Robert Saleh and Brandon Staley are defensive coaches. Their defenses, 12 men on the field, constant offsides, constant personal foul penalties. Their strength was their defense, and they suck.
The Chargers did that last year too. So how do you know it's not the players?
And how was Bill Belichick in Cleveland?
Okay.
Ooh, terrible.
Exactly.
Oh, hold on. He made the playoffs 1 year, and when they moved to Baltimore, it was a disaster. But I'm agreeing with you that you need to give guys a chance. But I've already seen enough of Brandon Staley, and I've seen enough of Robert Saleh. How did it work out in Arizona? Arizona had Josh Rosen and their head coach. They fired him after 1 year, and look how successful they are.
And I could have said this. I got to see Josh Rosen play at high school out here and at UCLA. He was a good college quarterback. I just didn't see him making it in the NFL. So I wasn't too surprised they moved on from him after 1 year.
Okay, Levi, we're talking about there's no tie in college football. I don't want to see Rico's happy because the Steelers got in with the tie. But how do we get rid of the tie in the NFL?
I think we should have a shootout with the kickers. Have the kickers just start kicking them first from the 20, then back them up to the 30, 40, 50 until somebody misses.
It's funny that you say that because Dom, the host of No Huddle Necessary on Nuts and Bolts Sports, on his show this week said that. He said that let's have the kickers. And my thing is, that's the only sport that you're going to decide an overtime game with your best players on the sideline. For example, hockey, they have a shootout. The NBA, you're not going to sit Steph Curry in overtime. In baseball, extra innings, you don't sit your best hitter. So why would you have, the outcome based on your best player sitting?
You're saying with the shootout with the kickers?
Yeah.
No, first we play the overtime period, and then if it's still tied after the overtime period, then we go to shootout, just like you do it in hockey.
Gotcha. That's not a bad idea. So you're saying give them overtime, then you start the kickers at the 35-yard line. Wow, yeah. Justin Tucker would love that because he would have bonuses left and right.
Yeah.
Okay, George, if there's one rule change that you could change in the NFL, and George, where are you right now? Can I ask that question?
I'm actually at my son Christian's playing in a Martin Luther King tournament this weekend. It's the final tournament with his travel team before they shut down for the high school season. So I'm actually at his game right now. He had a 9:00 game for his first game. So
good for you.
I thought you were on a boat.
Oh no! I'm old, so I got a chair that actually rocks. So I'm just kind of like mellowing out.
You have a rocking chair that you travel with.
Oh yeah, it's one of those, captain those director's chairs, but it's got where you can lean back. So I'm just, relaxing, enjoying the game. I don't have Rico money to get on a boat, so.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or Levi money to be hanging out with that beautiful painting that's probably worth $1.2 million.
Levi Rose with the high
I'm a
roller.
starving student, yo.
It looks like a Van Gogh. I'm not sure, man.
It's not my painting. I wish.
No, I actually agree with Rico. The rule you're asking to get rid of ties in the NFL. I like the idea of the, having the kickers decided, but I would start them out from at least 45 yards field goals, and after every one, you go back 5, and you give them 5 kicks.
I'm the owner of the painting, and I say you let him play until someone scores. Period. Let him die on the field.
That's our boy Abby.
Okay.
Whoever scores wins. Period. The end. That's how the game works.
But can I say this?
I agree with Abby.
Let's say we go to overtime, okay? And the Chargers are playing the Raiders. The Chargers get the ball. They go down and they score. You're not going to give the Raiders an opportunity to get the ball back?
One
opportunity. And
Well,
then
that's
you
what they
just
have
keep
now.
going.
What if they tie? What if they?
Well, they have it outside of
Right,
the
keep going.
on the
Until
field goal.
players die.
until the next
They're going to
person,
die.
until the next person scores. Let them die.
Okay.
No, well,
Let's do that.
What sport should end in a tie? Play the
I
game
agree.
until someone
Okay.
wins.
Soccer.
Listen, other than the fact that saying letting them die, I like your philosophy. But letting them die,
Until someone wins. If you have to take the second string quarterback, then that's fine.
Yeah, they could even tweak the rules now, because they say if whoever gets the ball first, if they score a touchdown, the game's over, or it's a safety, the game's over. I think if there is a touchdown on that first drive, like they do in college, then the other team should have the opportunity to try to answer.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's talk about the games today. We'll start with you, Levi. Give us your prediction, Bills, Patriots. You don't seem normally Levi comes on, he's like, anything can happen. I thought you would be nervous because, again, the one thing you don't want to do is play Bill Belichick in the playoffs. But you seem confident.
I'm definitely not cocky or confident, but on paper, the Bills are better at every single position on the field, maybe other than linebacker. So, yeah, Bill Belichick's a great coach, but they have a rookie quarterback. The other thing is a rookie quarterback has not won a playoff game since 2012.
Right.
So unless Mac Jones is the reincarnation of Russell Wilson, I just don't see it happening. Plus, we're at home. We have Josh Allen. This is not his first run. He's a veteran. We've got Stephon Diggs. We've got a pretty good defense. We're going to win the game. I don't know if we're going to cover the spread, but we're going to win the game.
You know, it's funny because the last time the Patriots played a playoff game without Tom Brady, Pete Carroll was the coach. So just goes to show you how long ago it was. Okay, George, you're going to the game Monday night, big-time roller. You got a director's chair where most people are sitting on a wooden or metal bench at a baseball game. So you're big time. But, George, I got to be honest with you. The one thing that scares me is this guy right here, because you could have every defensive aspect covered, and he's going to make plays. And I think Kyler Murray has to be the best player on the field for them to win. I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a good game. But, George, I'm worried about this game.
Yeah, you have to worry about Kyler Murray. The guy is a tremendous athlete. The one thing he hasn't been doing lately is he hasn't really been running as much. Now, I don't know if he's got issues with his foot still, but he's not running as much. The Rams, they see this. They've done it with Russell Wilson. They know how to contain him. As long as they stay within they stay disciplined on the edges, they can contain him. A couple times in Arizona, and I mentioned this when we were doing the NFC preview the other day. Leonard Floyd broke containment. He came inside instead of rushing up the field, and that allowed Kyler Murray to get outside. And once he gets outside, he's very dangerous creating on the outside, on the perimeter. So the Rams, they know how to contain him, and that's actually going to be the key, because I don't know if James Conner is going to play. He's a question mark right now. I know he's dealing with an injury, but they got Edmonds back. So, yeah, if they could contain Kyler Murray, I think we'll be okay. And, yeah, and Stafford, he can't turn the ball over like he's been doing. He's got to get out of that turnover funk.
So you're confident too?
I'm not as confident as Levi is with Buffalo, because I do think Buffalo's going to cover. And I do think the Rams are going to cover. I know it's a 4-point spread, but it's a nervous confidence.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
right now the biggest pressure on anyone in the playoffs is Matt Stafford. They brought him to LA for this reason. Granted, he's 0-3. He's only beaten one team that's won 10 games when they've played.
Yeah.
And that happened to be Arizona when he beat him in Arizona.
George, repeat
But-
that stat because I saw that this week again. Repeat that stat for the fans.
In Matt Stafford's career, he's only beaten one team who's had at least 10 wins at the time of that game, and that was against Arizona earlier this season. So the pressure, he's got pressure. He's 0-3 in the playoffs, and I've said in the beginning, it's Super Bowl or bust for this team. They mortgaged the future for this team for this year to get to the dance.
Yeah.
But
They gave up a lot of draft picks. I don't know if you guys. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but I don't think McVay is going to put it solely on his shoulders to win the game. I think McVay learned that one of the keys to beat Arizona is you got to run the ball, and they got a great 1-2 punch with Sony Michel and Cam Akers. So look for if they can keep Stafford under 35 passes, they're going to be very good today on Monday night.
You start Sony Michel, right? I mean, he's been lights. He's been very productive.
You definitely start Sony Michel, and you bring in Cam Akers as a change of pace.
By the way, am I the only one on the panel here who won the fantasy football that he was in? Because I won in Nuts and Bolts Sports, and I won in the other one. I'm just checking. Am I the only one?
Hour 15 minutes into the show, and that's the first time I heard you bring that up. I thought you were going to say that was when you were doing your good, the bad, the funny. I thought that was going to be your good part.
No, listen. Actually, I got to tell Joe, it's been a week. He hasn't sent me the money yet. Rico, we may have to call some of your boys.
Oh, he's getting tight on you, huh? All of a sudden, I have to collect the money.
You better tell Joe. Tell Joe the Vig's $3 bills a week.
Exactly. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think this is great. Look at this. This is Home Alone, a.k.a. Derek Carr, Macaulay Culkin, and Joe Burrow. Is that hilarious or what?
Oh, my God.
By the way, I've never seen Rico more excited than when you brought up the term the Vig. Something inside of him just went crazy. Rico, explain to the fans what the Vig is who don't know when they're betting.
Well, the Vig is, so if you bet $100, you only win 90, and that 10% is the Vig. That goes to the house. But there's a Vig in Vegas too, so it's not like this is just a mafia thing. It's just, that's just the way it works. So even though you're betting 100, you don't win 100. You only win 90.
Okay. All right, Rico, thank you for clarifying to all our degenerate gamblers out there and those who are not degenerate gamblers. All right, let's start with this, and then we'll have a couple more discussions here. We're talking with George, Lopez, Levi, and Rico. By the way, are you guys getting annoyed at how many times I send you TikTok videos during the day?
I'm used to it.
Man. I love them, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, I need more hits. Are you getting annoyed, Rico?
No, I watch him. If you notice, I'm the one who likes him.
Yeah, the few. Actually, we're doing pretty well. We're up to I think 155,000 views with the hashtag the Full Monte Sports Show. So
okay, Monte, don't ask me any questions for a couple seconds. I'm still listening, but Christian's coming up to bat, so
no problem. We'll actually take you off and let me know when you're back on. This way we don't distract you. And I hope he gets a hit. Let us know if he gets a hit. All right, Rico. 11 winning weeks, 5 losing weeks betting against the spread. I took the 49ers here. I think the 49ers control this game from start to finish. George is shaking shaking his head. I don't know if it's because his son swung at a bad pitch or he's pointing at me. Levi, you like San Francisco here. Tell me yes.
No, I like Dallas. Everybody's on San Francisco, but I like Dallas. I don't know. I don't believe in Jimmy G. I don't believe in Shanahan. I believe in Dak. And they're a good defense as well. Dallas last year was trash on defense. Their defense is good this year. And I don't know. I really do like Dallas. They're at home as well. I think that makes a difference in the playoffs.
Okay, Dallas is a 3-point favorite, Rico.
Yeah, I like Dallas. I think that's a great spread. I mean, San Francisco's team in whole has way more holes in it than Dallas does. So, when you're looking at it, the fact it's a trap line. I think Dallas blows them out. I think it's going to be one of those 40-point games for Dallas. I don't think San Francisco has the weapons to answer back to their offense right now.
San Francisco doesn't have the weapons. Deebo Samuel just made first team all pro.
Okay, who's throwing him the ball though?
George, did your son get a hit?
No, he struck out.
Okay, looking or swinging?
No, he struck out swinging, so I'll take that. It's just the swing mechanic was off.
It's baseball.
Yeah,
You strike, one third of the time, you're an all pro.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So, George, you're agreeing with Rico here. You like Dallas. Obviously, Greg loves Dallas too here.
Oh yeah, actually, I remember when we did the NFC preview, I actually called it 28-13 Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be close. I think Jimmy G
Wow.
makes mistakes. He's prone to it. I don't think San Francisco. It'll be close in the first half, and I think Dallas is just going to impose their will.
Can I make an observation here that may be way offline? I think that Trey Lance, if he's healthy, gets some snaps in here. Look at what Marcus Mariota is doing with the Raiders. Every time he comes in, he's making plays. Why not put Trey Lance in there to give them some different looks inside the red zone?
Because they tried it. They might do it in the playoffs, but they tried it earlier in the year, and Shanahan said it was just throwing the offense off. So they might do it towards the end of the game, as a trick play, but I don't think they're going to use it regularly.
And I'm surprised, Rico, because if you know how much you follow fantasy, and I had him on 3 of my teams, Deebo Samuel can do it from running back position. He's a great wide receiver. There's no one on Dallas that can – I know Dallas is super fast and talented, but Deebo's a playmaker all over the field.
Well, I mean, again, who else do they have? Who are they throwing to?
Kittle? Ayuk has 52 catches.
Jennings, wow,
you guys are all off the San. You have no confidence in San Francisco.
I have respect from how they ended the season. You have to be impressed how they ended it to get in, and for them to come back and be the first team to beat McVay when he was leading at halftime. So you have to respect that. But I think Dallas has got the players on defense. They can. You're not going to stop Deebo Samuel, but they can contain him. If they put him in the backfield, Micah Parsons is fast enough and strong enough to take him down. And if they try to put him out on as a receiver, Diggs can stay with him.
Okay, so I will say this. I checked the money line before I came on the show today, and you would think that the most money going on is the Chiefs, but that's a big spread, so it's not. 56% of the American public is betting on San Francisco, and it's a 3-point spread. So most people think they're going to win.
That's I was watching NFL Network the other day, and a guy brought up a good point about San Francisco. He goes, that's the popular 12-5 NCAA bracket pick.
Okay. All right.
Everyone,
all right.
And I was like, you know what? Yeah, everyone, that's the one upset. Everyone likes the perfect pick, if you will, but it's not going to happen. Not this year.
Well, I will say this. On Sunday, halftime of the Dallas-San Francisco game, I'm doing a live show. The halftime show has been tremendously successful here. I think we had over 1,000 views now when we did the halftime show live for the Alabama game. So I will be doing that with Greg Rector and Jeff Barnes, 2 Dallas Cowboy fans, so they may throw it in my face. Okay, Rico, 10-7 Raiders at the 10-7 Bengals. My brother absolutely loves Joe Burrow. He's been saying this for 2 years. He thinks he's just as good as Justin Herbert. I don't know about that, but what do you think about this game? Since he's a 6-point favorite now.
The 6 points. Yes, the Bengals can explode, but 6 points is a lot of points. And the Raiders, they're not looking like I said all year about them. Whenever something works for them, they just go away from it. I think that they're learning their lesson, and they're just when something's working, as long as they leave the ball in Carr's hand, I think that they'll stay within the spread. I like the Raiders, just like I called last week with the Raiders, how they were going to spoil it for Diego.
You did.
They're going to spoil it for they have a potential of winning this game. I don't think that the Bengals look great, right? They look great, but they have flaws in their defense. So I like the Raiders and the points in this game.
Do you like the Raiders to win outright?
I would like to see them win outright, just because somebody's got to play spoiler, and I hope it's them.
Yeah, I think
Pittsburgh's not going to do it.
And the Raiders have been in playoff mode the last 4 weeks. They knew if they had one more loss and they were done. And I've said this before, and my brother's a huge Raider fan, and I've told him this. To go through everything they've gone through with the resignation or firing of John Gruden, what happened with Ruggs, and then there was another Raider player who was arrested for DUI after the Colts game. To go through all that and to be in a position to still have a chance to get into the playoffs, the last game of the season, and to play the way they did, this team they have the potential to go on a very long run in the playoffs. This is a team that you really don't want to face.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. They could rush the passer. They're playing with house money. They don't care anymore. So I could definitely see them winning.
I agree, man. And I'm going to say this about Joe Burrow. I think, to me, he's this generation's Joe Cool. I mean, Joe Montana is the definitive Joe Cool, but this kid does not get rattled.
Well, I will say this. Here's a text message that was never sent in the history of texting. The Bengals won the playoffs. The last time the Bengals won the playoff game, text messaging wasn't even invented yet. So
Yeah, I
no
heard
one
about
has
that.
ever said the Bengals. No one has ever texted Rico the Bengals won a playoff game. That's how long it's been. Now let me ask you this, Levi: if you're taking one quarterback, for the next 5 years, are you taking Joe Burrow or are you taking Justin Herbert?
That's a super tough question. For me, it's Herbert because I love his arm. His arm is ridiculous. He also doesn't get rattled, but they're really, really close. They're both, them and Mahomes are the future of the NFL.
Who are you taking, George?
You can't go wrong with either one. I think it depends on the type of offense that you run.
Okay, you got to pick one. I'm not going to let you get off that easy.
Okay. If I had to pick one, I would give the slight edge to Herbert.
Rico?
Well, just because I like the way Herbert runs better, I would have to go with Herbert too.
Okay. Now, George, you're going to the game at SoFi Stadium. Obviously, you're not going to be, on the field like Rico always is. But in that stadium, is it like when I used to go to the old Madison Square Garden? No matter where you sit, you have a great seat. Is anywhere a great seat in that stadium?
Well, I've only been there for a game. I only went once. This is going to be my second game. And we were sitting, I don't have, Rico seat money. So I was sitting up at the 500 section. And where we sat, there was just a little bit of the corner end zone that we couldn't see. But when I was looking for tickets for this, for Monday night, it's still in the 500 section, but it's more by the 30-yard line, and you see the whole field. So when I've walked around it, I really don't see a really bad seat there. They designed it pretty well.
And George, when you go to the game, how far is it? How long does it take you to get there?
Well, I'm going to leave probably Monday. I'm going to leave around no later than 3:00. Okay. I'm going to give myself at least an hour, and then my son and I, we can just kind of walk around for an hour before the game.
So it takes you about an hour to get there?
Oh, minimum. With LA traffic, Rico, you know LA traffic, so.
Rico, same thing?
No, I'm going to go way. I'm going to be out when I eventually go. I go way earlier. I leave 2 hours before, because by the time
you see, like when it's my son and I don't tailgate, so.
Right.
Yeah, it's not even a tailgate. It's just the traffic, and by the time you get there, the parking, and then walking to the stadium. It's not like you park close to the stadium. It's a 20-minute walk for me.
Well, when I went the last time, I actually parked at the Forum next door. That's what I'm going to do Monday. I'm going to skip park at the Forum and walk across.
So Andrea is saying, thank goodness you guys are, because Monte would probably have your heads if I didn't pick Herbert. These guys disagree with me all the time. Greg never agrees with me. So
you don't know the text message we got beforehand. We all had to say it was Herbert. We got that thread, the little group text. So
that is not me. Okay, Rico, again, my friend Mike, who bets based on your thing, he never wants. I think. For some reason, you are slightly – I went back and looked. You're slightly above 500 when you pick the Steelers games. So you've been pretty good over the last couple of years. But this is a 13-point spread. I don't see how the Steelers keep this close.
I don't either. I would bet as a betting man, I would bet KC. I think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think Pittsburgh has shown anything all year that can It's not a prize fight. This is just going to be a blowout. I would actually, everything in me says take 13 points because how much better is one NFL team than another? But I've watched both of these teams all year. And again, Pittsburgh has not once shown that they can even stay in the same stadium as KC. So 13 points is, it opens up at 12 and a half.
34-13. I'm thinking 34-13. Is that way off?
No, I think 13. I'm talking. I think KC hits into the 40s today.
Wow.
Well, Rico, what's the latest on Najee Harris's elbow, and what's the latest also on Tyreek Hill's heel?
Well,
Najee's going to play.
Najee's playing, but the big surprise is Juju might be playing.
Yeah, I saw that. I
So
saw
that might, I don't know what that's going to do, but again, I don't think it's going to do much.
I have a feeling Pittsburgh's. I still pick Kansas City to win, but I think Pittsburgh's going to keep it close.
That's my feeling too. Historically, teams that have big spreads, they usually cover that big spread in the playoffs. But I'm getting this feeling like TJ Watt himself can keep this game close.
Well, it's funny because Rico and I talked about this. As you know, he comes on the show and tells us what games to bet on and the spread. For the last 2 years, Kansas City has been one of the worst teams covering the spread. Vegas hasn't adjusted because Vegas keeps saying, "Oh, they're going to win," and they're not.
Everybody
Greg
bets KC. People love betting KC. They don't care what the line is.
Greg thinks that the entire state of Pennsylvania is going to win today. He says Pittsburgh wins and the Eagles win.
No.
Okay. Levi, let's start with you. If there's one team, we got about 5-6 minutes left. If there's one team that can pull the upset this weekend, who is it going to be?
I like the Raiders. I think the Raiders and the Bengals are pretty evenly matched. So if I had to put my money on one, it would be them.
And you guys have a good friend who's a Raider fan, right?
Yep, Covey. Yeah. He's a huge Raider fan.
So if they
20
win,
years.
we're gonna put them on. George, what team has the biggest chance of making an upset?
I agree with Levi, but I don't think it's a big upset. I think if the Raiders win, they're going to consider it an upset because of the point spread. But I don't see it as that big of an upset. So the Raiders winning, it won't surprise me one bit. And I know my brother, my uncles most of my family that are Raider fans, they're going to be ecstatic. They're excited for this game.
Wow. So you live in LA, you're Latin, and most of your family are Raider fans. That really doesn't sound normal. I mean, that's all you see, right? For some reason, Latin people love the Raiders out in California.
Well, I got with my mom's family, me, two of my uncles, and a couple of my cousins are Ram fans. Another uncle, Raider fan, and then I got cousins. Believe it or not, they're actually Steeler fans.
Really? They're all over Steeler fans. You can't get rid of them, no matter what.
Oh no, you can't. He got to make a game in Pittsburgh this year, so he loved it.
Okay, Rico. So I think Joe Burrow and Chase light it up today. I think that'll be the least competitive game. That's my pick. Like I don't think my upset is San Francisco. What's your upset if you had to pick one?
Well, because of the point spread, I mean, an upset 6 points is a lot, and I agree with both of these guys that I think the Raiders, if they have a chance to win, never mind covering the 6 point spread. Everybody thinks that Cincinnati, if you look at during the season, every time they had a big scoring game, the next week, they scored 21 points.
Yeah, but you guys in our
all season it was like that, 41-21, 41.
Rico, I know you're saying this because
what team is going to show up? The team that put up 41 points against Baltimore twice, or the team that got blown out by the Jets?
Well, this is Rico's a little, touched because
the other thing to keep in mind is Joe Burrow is amazing against teams that blitz. The Raiders don't blitz at all.
They don't blitz at all.
They can get to the pass. They can get to the quarterback without blitzing. So I think that's an important piece too.
But in our text change, you guys are always like Burrow and Chase. Oh my goodness, they can't be stopped.
Well, fantasy-wise, they're the best. There's
fantasy, and there's also regular season, and there's playoffs. I'm not saying that
that message right there, that Let's Go Raiders, that's actually my brother.
Okay. Wow. So all three of you guys are taking the Raiders.
I'm not picking them to win, but if I had to pick an upset, I'll pick them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I took on the picks that I do on the point spreads, I took the Raiders in the points.
I don't understand why they're talking about bringing in a different coach for the Raiders. They lost John Gruden, one of the most popular players in their locker room. I'm not going to mention his name because of the heinous drunk driving. He's going to be in jail for life. This Raider coach has brought this team and kept them afloat with Derek Carr. So why would you want to change that, Rico?
I don't, because that's just what they do. It's the Raiders. Why wouldn't they self-implode every, the Raiders have terrible years, and then they'll have one amazing year, and you have no idea why they did it, and then they'll go back onto a bunch of, dud years. So why wouldn't the Raiders shoot themselves in the foot?
But who from the Raiders is actually saying we're looking for another coach.
Well,
It's
the rumor is
everyone.
that Harbaugh is going to be the coach, the
Yeah,
head coach
again,
of Michigan.
those are rumors, and that gets people talking. That gets social media going. That gets some people on NFL Network, NFL Radio, the four-letter network. It gives them something to talk about.
But
Mark Davis
George,
hasn't said anything about what his decision's going to be.
we know this. When a story gets leaked, 90% of the time it comes from that organization, right? And historically, who are the worst teams that leak? The Jets, incompetent. The Browns, incompetent. The Raiders, incompetent. The Lions. You don't see leaks from the Patriots. A few years ago, when the LA Clippers acquired Kawhi Leonard, no one heard about it.
Well, I'm sorry you
Right?
said Clippers. It makes me laugh when you say that.
Because but there's a different mindset with the Clippers now and different ownership. Magic Johnson was out taking Kawhi Leonard out to dinner saying he wants to be a Laker. What are you doing, Magic? Historically great organizations, and Mark Davis is not one of them. He's been a disaster. Historically great organizations don't leak. So I think the Raiders wanted this story to leak to see what feedback they would get.
And I think, I've heard people say that this is like an audition for him in the playoffs, depending on how they do. I think what he did, he went 7-5 as an interim coach. That was his job interview. How he kept this team together after everything that happened with Ruggs and Gruden. And I think he should be they should take the interim tag off his. I think he should be the next coach for the Raiders next year.
Okay, so last question here. We'll get you guys out of here. I know this is going to be 4 different scenarios. Levi, will start with you. AFC Championship, NFC Championship. Who's in the Super Bowl?
I think it's going to be Bills Chiefs.
I knew you were going to say the Bills.
Bills Chiefs for sure, and then before the year started, I picked the Bucks in the Super Bowl, so I'm just going to stick with that. I think it'll be Bucks Packers in the championship game, and then Bucks Bills in the Super Bowls. Of course, the Bills are going to win.
Wow. Now, are you concerned if the Bills? Is there any team that really concerns you besides the Chiefs with Buffalo in the AFC? Or you're pretty confident?
Yeah, like you said, Tennessee scares me too, especially with Henry coming back. People just keep underestimating them. I don't know why everyone's forgetting about them, but they play hard. They're well coached, and Derrick Henry can control any game he's in.
It's funny because during the coaching, George didn't mention Mike Vrabel. He's done an amazing job.
Yeah, that was an oversight on my part. I agree. He's done
everyone. I didn't even mention him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should get serious consideration for Coach of the Year.
Okay, Andrea's upset with Levi's pick, Bucks Packers in the NFC Championship. All right, George, give us your final 4.
Well, my preseason pick for the Super Bowl was Buffalo and the Rams. So in the AFC, obviously, I got Buffalo in the AFC Championship game, and I got them going up against Tennessee. I don't think Kansas City's going to make it. I really don't. And I got Buffalo winning, and I have the Rams and the Packers in the NFC Championship game, and I think the Rams have the team that can go into Green Bay and beat them.
Listen, anytime you have Aaron Donald, you got to be scared. All right, Rico, you're not taking the Steelers, obviously. And why are people overlooking Tennessee?
Well, I was just about to say, I think it's going to be Tennessee, and I want to say KC, but I feel like it's going to be Tennessee and Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to get a little revenge from last year, so I think it's Tennessee and Buffalo, and I think Tennessee goes to the big game, and then and then I kind of like Dallas versus Green Bay.
And who wins?
Dallas versus Green Bay. Again, I'm on that Dallas bandwagon. I think
come on.
Dallas versus Green Bay. Dallas versus Green Bay. Green Bay wins, and then Green Bay takes it. Green Bay finally takes it to the house.
So you're saying Green Bay beats the Titans?
Yes.
I think the biggest thing, like people overlook Tennessee, is because they play what people consider boring football. They play 1970s football.
Yeah, they really do.
And it's very effective, and a lot of people, it's not flashy, and so people just overlook it, and that's dangerous to do, especially in the playoffs. And yeah, I agree. Getting Derrick Henry back to go with Foreman, they're going to have they're going to be a very tough team in the playoffs. But I just like Buffalo. I think it's just Buffalo's time to get there, but I still pick the Rams to beat them. But I think it's going to be a hell of a game in that Super Bowl.
I have I'm going boring here. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that was the the second Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl of all time. So I'm
That
going with
was Super Bowl 1.
Super Bowl 1. So I'm going with that. And it's just funny because my friend Bill texts me. He goes, Monty, you do so much. Your lighting. You try to do so much with your homemade studio. But George is in a director's chair. Rico has a beautiful picture of Marilyn Monroe, and Levi's at some sort of resort with a multi-million-dollar painting. They're like, you're really the lowest budget out of all these guys. So again, getting billed by text messaging.
I'm sitting by a baseball field at a high school right now, so
In a director's chair that rocks.
it's one of those regular chairs. It's just got where I can rock it. Hey, I'm the oldest one in this group right now, so.
All right, and Rico, real quick. Are you going to the Super Bowl? Because there's rumors that someone in your family won tickets, and you may be able to go to Super Bowl.
Well, that ruins the whole story I was going to tell since you got right to the ending of it.
Okay, well, we're giving it to you right now. Go for it.
Well, so Melissa's mother calls us one day, and she's like, oh, they called me and told me that I won tickets to the football championship game in Los Angeles on February 13th.
Did she call it the football championship game?
No, she said they refer to it as the football championship game.
Wow.
Okay.
So we're like, you didn't give them a credit card, right? And she's like, no, they didn't ask for it. They said I won it in the lottery in Pennsylvania. We were like, don't give them a credit card. Whatever. She's like, no. Then the next day she calls us. She goes, they told me that I won a flight and a hotel room for 4 days. And we're like, Sandy, please don't tell me you gave them any information, your social security number. She's like, and then she calls and she goes, oh, they also giving me 3 tickets to 3 parties before the game. So now we're like, whatever. You're out of your mind. You're crazy. Like, just don't answer the phone. Go to find out she won on Second Chance Lottery, which I've made fun of her 100 times for, where you send in the losing tickets. She won the Super Bowl package. Her son looked up, my brother-in-law Anthony looked up online and saw her name in the Pennsylvania lottery. She was one of 5 people who won 2 Super Bowl tickets, a flight from Pittsburgh to LA, 4 nights at a hotel, 3 tickets to the party, and Super Bowl tickets. She won. So that being said, she couldn't make it because she has a broken hip. The father wasn't going to go without her. Melissa's brother's a teacher, and he can't go. So,
Rico, can I interrupt?
Rico, did I tell you how much I admire your mother-in-law?
Rico, can I just interrupt for a second? So, after she won the tickets, she got a broken hip. Was there like a hip job? What happened?
She
there?
magically tripped in the living room.
Rico, are
When you
you
were visiting.
friends with
When you
Tanya
were
Harding's
visiting.
ex-husband?
While I was there. But so that being said, I'm hoping it's a Green Bay Kansas City Super Bowl because that'll probably if I could sell the tickets, I can't even imagine what they'll go for.
Hold on. So you have 2 tickets.
Me and
To the
Melissa
Super Bowl.
are officially going to the Super Bowl in Los Angeles, and we have 3 tickets to the 3 parties prior to, which is called one of them's called the Yellow Jacket Party, which it's a hall. It's all going to be all Hall of Famers and apparently us.
Rico,
Wow.
how long have we known each other?
Too long.
Have I ever asked you for anything in my life?
Yes, actually, a lot of times. No.
What?
Because,
Have I ever come to you in a time of need and said, Rico, I need something?
what do you need?
Rico, if the Packers go to the Super Bowl, I have to be one of those people going to the Super Bowl.
Wow, what am I going to do? Tell Melissa she can't go because of you?
You told me she doesn't like football anymore since she started dating you. You ruined it for her.
Super Bowl, you know what? I'll talk to Melissa, but I can tell you what the answer is going to be.
So you're going to the Super. You're not going to sell those tickets, Rico. You're not selling.
Let me tell you, if
You know-
somebody offers me 15 grand, I'm selling those tickets.
I looked it up last night on StubHub. Tickets right now are going for $9K. Bad seats.
Oh, and
Wow.
by the way, George knows the stadium. They're lower level seats.
Oh my God.
Oh,
You're
wow.
going to get
Forget about it, bro. They're already worth $15K.
minimum.
I'm going to pay for Giovanni's high school.
Yeah, dude. That's crazy.
Wow.
Does he see
my
Levi?
God.
Does he see Levi?
Giovanni, what's up, dude?
Who's your favorite uncle?
Oh.
Wow, lower level. Oh, Rico, in a sense, I kind of hope Pittsburgh goes now.
Yeah,
Oh,
please.
my.
No, I don't.
I know it's not going to happen, but
If Pittsburgh makes it, her brother's going to go, and then I don't go.
okay.
So we don't want Pittsburgh to
Oh,
go.
Rico. So seriously, you're going to sell those tickets instead of going?
If I got lower level and somebody offers me 15 grand for 15 grand per ticket, how could I say no?
Wait, what if it's Bills Packers or Bills
No,
Rams?
wait.
Then you're
What if
obligated to sell it
What
to
if
one of
it's
us,
Bills
bro.
Rams?
Yeah,
Levi and I are in LA. You know,
That's what I'm saying.
you know.
Rico, do you accept a second party out of state post-dated check?
You know,
Can I
I know
start
someone.
making payments?
I know someone who's a prince in Nigeria. He can wire you the money after the game.
So, Rico, you're seriously going to sell it instead of going to a once-in-a-lifetime thing?
Well, you know what? Again, for 30, you know what? It's hard. It's a hard thing.
But wait,
For
and
30
here's my
grand,
next question. If they're giving you the tickets, and let's say for argument's sake you get 30 grand for the two, you got to give your mother-in-law some money.
I got to give her all the money. I mean, what am I going to do? That's the thing. How do I tell her parents who are from Pittsburgh that I got offered $30,000 and I said no to go to the game?
What
It's
if
not even me. It's more of a like she won the money. It's her tickets. Like,
maybe
but I think
you could ask her if you could sell them for 30 and then buy cheaper seats and then split the money that you make.
that's actually a really good idea.
You know, I get it. I mean, that's like, and I agree, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, you know, to do it. But like, you know, you get offered 30 grand, it's kind of hard, so especially in LA, to walk away from 30 grand.
Especially
Well, you know what?
if it's not your team.
At the end of the day, me and Levi are friends with Abby. So, you know, maybe Abby buys the Super Bowl tickets next year or the year after that.
Okay.
Rico's a Bills fan by proxy, so if the Bills make
Yeah,
it,
if
you
the
kind of
Bills
have to
make
sell.
it,
So, Rico, real quick, when all this was happening, at what point did you say, oh, my goodness, this is legit? Were you like, this is a scam, right? That's what you
I
thought?
thought the whole time it was a scam, right until her brother sent me a snapshot of the Pennsylvania Lottery website.
Well,
Wow.
if it would have been anyone other than your mother-in-law, I would have asked, do they have a warrant? You know, sometimes cops will do that and show up and come get the tickets, and that's how they arrest people.
Actually, there was a story here. This is true. My brother Pete keeps wanting me to bring this up in the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I said Florida's the dumbest criminals in the world live in Florida. There was a couple years ago, there was meth that was going around in Florida, and they said your meth was tainted. Come get it tested at the police station. And something
about
like
this.
70 people went, and they said, hey, I think my meth is tainted, and they got arrested.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Man, Levi, I hope you're not staying in Florida that long, man. That sun messes with you.
Levi,
No,
I'm
just
surprised you
days,
came
I
here.
wanted to rub off.
Levi's in Miami. He's not
Yeah,
in
bro.
Florida.
Levi, this is COVID central. I'm surprised you came down here.
I know. Every time I leave the house, I put on the N95. I don't
Yeah,
take it off.
and let me guess, you see one or two people wearing it.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
For sure. It's not like LA, that's for sure.
All right, George, thanks so much for joining us. What's the score of the baseball game?
Right now they're down 2-1.
And this is their last game of the year, right?
Well, last tournament of the until high school season ends. Then
All
they'll
right,
start
George.
back up in May.
Take plenty of pictures of the game. Have a great time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys. Hey, good luck to Buffalo. Good luck to Pittsburgh. You know, and I know my brother is watching. I'm pulling for the Raiders today, so hopefully they do it.
All right, that's awesome. Rico and Levi, real quick. So, Levi, give us a final score here for the Bills.
24-17.
You're not concerned at all with the Bills moving forward with the lack of running game.
You know, Devin Singletary has been a really good back.
But they don't use him.
In fantasy for me, so in fantasy, since week 13, Devin Singletary has been the number 2 back in the league. That's significant. As soon as they handed over the keys to him, he's done what they need him to do. So I'm not saying that he's, Zeke Elliott or something, but he can get it done.
Okay. And Rico, any final words? If this is Big Ben's last game, what he's meant to that franchise, and do you see him ever coming back as like a consultant, as someone working, in the front office position, or once he's done, he's hunting and fishing the rest of his life?
I think he's hunting and fishing. I think he loves football, but seeing Andrew Luck like in an interview, totally enjoying
so happy.
I think it's one of those things that it's going to be like half the season in, and he's going to be like, "This is great. I'm not hurt. I'm not going in for surgery. My body feels good, and still just again, I think that he's a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a quarterback mind so much as Peyton Manning,
Right.
where he's just like very, football intelligence. I mean, he's got it, of course, because he's he's a Hall of Famer. But I don't see him doing much like that.
And finally, do you guys watch the Monday night with Peyton Manning and Eli Manning? Do you guys watch that?
I've seen it a couple times. Honestly, I like the regular broadcast better. It's too distracting. Like, they're amazing, and I would watch it like when football's over, but I just want to watch the game. They don't really talk about, the play-by-play. They just talk about football. So
I like it, but I watch it, but the thing that I keep telling people is you're only getting, for all the 3 hours that the game is on, you're getting maybe like one good moment every segment, like one hilarious one. So I just watch the clips of it. I can't watch it during the game.
100%.
Same thing, Rico?
Yeah, same thing. I agree with Levi 100%. I like to watch football. Now, I can see that the half fan enjoying that, the person who's not into every play, but I'm into every play.
Levi, where you watching the game tonight? You going to a sports bar? What are you doing?
I think I'm going to go to sports bar. Yeah, I'm going to go eat pizza at my friend's house, and I'm going to go to a sports bar with my N95.
Does he have his own kitchen, his own brick oven kitchen?
He actually has an uni, which is a Japanese pizza oven, and he made the dough last night, he and his girl, and we're going to make custom pizzas. It's going to be amazing.
I'm so jealous. You don't know how jealous I am of Levi right now.
It's not
Levi,
as good as the pizza,
I'm a little disappointed. Like, you come to Florida, you don't tell me you're coming. We can't get together.
Bro, you want to hang out?
Well, Miami's too far from me, so Miami's like an hour and a half away from me.
Let's meet halfway.
Okay, where are you going? You want to meet somewhere for the game tonight?
Yeah, let's meet at the sports bar. I'll text you.
I will text you. We'll try to meet maybe somewhere halfway.
Sweet.
All right, Rico, aren't you jealous now?
I'm not gonna lie. I had a free day yesterday, and I realized I have no friends except Levi.
Oh, we'll FaceTime you, Rico.
Come out, Rico.
Right.
You had Levi just came into your life because of fantasy football. So what'd you do before Levi?
There was Levi way before fantasy football.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that's what bonded you guys.
No.
You were out one night talking.
No, we used to talk religion and politics and philosophy. We were so deep, and then we found.
I know. We literally got shallower.
I swear that's true.
Hold on, I'm confused here. Rico judges his friends by fantasy football. So how were you guys talking for years without fantasy football coming up?
I'll tell you the truth. I was against fantasy for a long time because I was a staunch Bills fan, and I thought it was a contradiction, which it kind of is. But I was like, I only like football, real football. I don't like fantasy football. That taints the sport. So I never dabbled in it until Rico called me from Florida when he was on his honeymoon, and he's like, dude, you got to do my drafts for me. I'm on a boat, and it's illegal here, so you got to do it for me. I was like, I don't know anything. He's like, just do them, bro. Just do them. And I did them, and we didn't do that.
By the way, great imitation of Rico's voice. Just do them.
Yeah, I swear that happened.
Wow, so that's how it all started.
That's because there was that time where it got a little gray for fantasy football, like
some states weren't covering it. Yeah,
and Miami and Florida wasn't letting it happen. And I was about to go on a cruise, and I was stuck. And I was like, "You got to just do the drafts here, $500 buy-in, just do it."
And that's what happened. Wow, that's amazing. All right, guys, thanks so much. Levi, I'll text you. Let me know if we can meet up later on. It'd be great to watch the game. And Rico, we'll see you next week.
All right, guys.
Oh, by the way,
go Bills.
If the Raiders win, we got to get your friend on.
All right, for sure. And go Rams. So everybody wins.
Oh, yeah, everyone wins. All right, Rico, people loving the hairdo. What? Seriously, did you get it cut? It looks darker. It looks like you dyed it.
No. Actually, I combed it the other way, this way.
Okay, so
because you know what? Because when I went the usual way, it wasn't working out. Because you got to remember, it's pretty early here, so.
I thought you were going to say something. I'm trying to change it up so Melissa doesn't get sick of looking at me. But you're basically.
No, there's nothing I could change. She's bored, sick, tired of me. She doesn't even laugh at my jokes anymore. That's it. I'm in father of a 3-year-old mode. I'm just convenient.
Wow. I hope she doesn't watch the show. She used to listen to it. Does she watch it anymore? She doesn't even watch it anymore.
Well, it's early for her, so I let her stay in and I take the baby and I do the show. So she hasn't watched it in the last few weeks. Okay. But she used to.
All right. Yeah, well, listen, she's probably sick of me too. I don't know how someone couldn't be.
She doesn't know how we're such good friends.
I don't know how we are either, to be honest with you.
Hey, we're friends for 22 weeks a year. Locked.
Rico, if the Packers are going to the Super Bowl, come on, man. Come on.
Listen, I wish I had any say in the matter. I am a guest to their tickets.
Can I start a petition going?
You should start a GoFundMe, and it could be called "Buying Rico Super Bowl Tickets."
Listen. I don't know if the Packers are going to make it. I haven't even thought about it because we have a week off. It's nice when your team gets a bye week, right? You don't have to worry.
We don't have to worry, but I don't know. I don't know what that's like. I don't think Pittsburgh's ever had a bye week in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah. So you don't know what that's like. So you're always worried. Are you starting to get depressed that football season's over?
Again, you know what? I don't get depressed that it's over. I think that doesn't happen till you're like the Super Bowl, you're all excited because it's like the playoffs, everything's happening, upsets, teams, spreads, betting, fantasy football, inside player, playoff fantasy football. And then the Super Bowl ends, you win your box, and then you just realize like, oh my God, there's nothing. It really hits me the Sunday after the Super Bowl is when I'm like, wow, this, Melissa's going to have us packed up and go to the beach or something. And I'm going to be like,
you mean live a normal life, not revolving around sports?
Yeah, not arguing that I could watch a game that's not Pittsburgh.
All right, Rico. Hey, so we'll text you if I meet up with Levi. I'm going to see if we can find a place halfway.
Yeah. Hopefully, I hope so. I think that'd be really cool if you guys hung out. Levi's the best.
All right, man.
And if you got to meet our boy Abby's really cool too.
Okay, well, see, you have more than one friend. He's your friend too.
Yeah, but he's like you. He lives in another state. What am I going to do? FaceTime with go hang out in my backyard and FaceTime him for an hour. Hey.
So you're only friends with people who are geographically acceptable to you.
Well, not even. I'm friends with people who not only geographical, they have to be in the bubble, inside the bubble.
Okay, like how far does Levi live from you?
Levi lives probably about not even 3 minutes away.
Okay, so that's why.
Levi lives the closest to me, so he wins. He wins no matter what.
So if he moves to Florida, your relationship is half over.
I might be moving to Florida if he moved to Florida.
You don't want to live here, bro. Trust me. It's crazy.
I've been Miami again is not really Florida. Miami.
That is true, right? That is true. But
Miami, yes, they don't wear masks and all that stuff, but remove that part. Like Miami's reminds me LA-ish a little bit. Yeah, it really almost a little bit more glitzy than LA.
That is true. A lot of people are leaving LA. A lot of people are moving out of LA. And you know what the number one state where people are moving out of? New Jersey.
I can't imagine why they're leaving New Jersey. Just to let you know, I was way ahead of my time. I left 12 years ago.
Left or got kicked out? That's the question.
Yeah. It's a little of both. No joke.
All right, Rico. Have a good Sunday. Enjoy Saturday and Sunday enjoying the wild card games. We'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week, brother.
All right. What a fun show. That was a fun show. And now I might have a date with Levi going out and watching a football game, which I didn't even plan. So I want to thank all of you. Got a bunch of new lights here. We're still trying to figure out. There's some shadows here I have to work out. Still trying to figure out the lighting here. Make sure to subscribe. Give us the thumbs up for this show. Thank you, everyone in the chat room, from Andrea to Greg to all the people who are actively chatting during the show. We really appreciate it. Little shout out to you. Little cheers to all the fans. And remember, we are going to be doing a show tomorrow at halftime of the 49ers Dallas game, and then Monday night, halftime of the Rams versus the Cardinals. And of course, in the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, as I buy time so I can find this picture, I'll be back. You have a record that will never be broken.
You can't trip on that. They hit big shots with Luka. I think the Clippers have no idea.
Oh, look at that reaction. Look at that reaction.